Hello everyone, it's been a while. Welcome back to Thief Goat, to be precise. It's been a long time since I've been live like this. It feels kind of weird, but yeah, I had a lot of stuff going on over the past few months. A lot of craziness with real life, graduation, finding a job, all that good stuff. But things are relatively stable now, knock on wood. So I decided... I miss streaming, so I decided to just start streaming again. It won't be very frequent. I'll just put that out there. It won't be very frequent at all. I will basically stream a single game whenever I feel like streaming a game, basically. But I will stream the entire game through. And in the case of this game, it has basically a mission structure, so I'll be streaming a entire mission per video, basically, per stream. I won't be doing it daily, though, so some days I'll stream, other days I won't. It will always start at the same time, however, because I work 9 to 5, so the best time for me, at least, is 7:30 Central European time. So keep that in mind. Hello, Alex. Glad you could make it. But yeah, this is Thief. It's one of my all-time favorite games. It's my absolute favorite stealth game. Even though I don't play that many stealth games, ironically, I do love stealth games, and this game is practically my introduction to stealth games, believe it or not. Not even Metal Gear Solid, this game. I first played it back in 2018, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And ever since then, I've been replaying the base game on and off. I've been playing fan missions. There's a lot of fan content, surprisingly, for this game. Well, unsurprisingly, it has a really strong cult following, because it's a really damn good game. But yeah, like I'm terrible at this. I haven't streamed in ages. I'm really bad at introducing this game. So I guess the best way to introduce it is to just start. Just as a bit of a disclaimer, this is modded. This is not purely vanilla. So if you want to get this game for yourself and play it, you're gonna have it be vanilla. It's gonna look different, basically. I'm using, as it says down here, the HD texture mod. Since, again, I've replayed this game at least 5, maybe 6 or 7 times. And I want to spruce up this playthrough here, because I literally finished a playthrough a couple weeks ago of this game. And I thought, you know what, I kind of want to stream this instead. But yeah, without further ado, let's begin. I'm gonna play on Expert, and I'll explain why shortly. And normally I skip the training, but in this game's case, I'm not going to, because it's actually part of the story. So let's begin.
I was a kid. No parents, no home. Running messages and picking pockets to keep my ribs from meeting my spine. One night I saw a man. Folks just passed him by like he wasn't there. I thought he must have something valuable, so I snuck up on him and made a grab.
That's not for you.
Please, sir, I'm hungry. Don't tell the Hammers, I promise.
What is your name, boy?
Garrett.
You have talent, lad.
Let go of me, old man.
To see a keeper is not an easy thing, especially one who does not wish to be seen. We have a need for those as gifted as yourself. If you've grown tired of how you live, then follow me, and we will show you a different way.
Leave me alone.
As you wish.
I caught up with him just before he vanished into the crowd. It was the beginning of a very long education.
Alright, so as I mentioned at the start, this game is basically follows a mission structure. There's 60 missions total in the game if you count the tutorial. Without the tutorial, it's 15. So I'm gonna cover one mission per stream because, I mean, these earlier missions are relatively short, especially because I've played the game before. I know my way around the levels, so it shouldn't take longer than 40 minutes per level, at most an hour, sometimes even 20 minutes. That is why I'm doing it this way, because I need to get back into streaming slowly. So yeah, but each mission, you can set the difficulty at the very beginning. There's 3 difficulty levels. There's normal, hard, and expert. Unlike other games where difficulties like change the stats of enemies and whatnot, in this game, difficulties are actually handled very differently and in a very unique way. Basically, higher difficulties will unlock new objectives for you to complete and even new areas of the map. It also modifies enemy count, so there's gonna be more enemies. But the enemies themselves, like their AI, their stats are pretty much the same all across the board, across all difficulties. Because this is the training, there's nothing extra if you play on expert, so it really doesn't matter what difficulty you play on in the training. But right off the bat for mission 1, which we're gonna play tomorrow, you're gonna see that there's gonna be a big difference between the difficulties. Which is something that I wish more games would do. I'm gonna say that this a lot throughout this series, but I really wish a lot of other games did what this game does. It's Thief. It's actually Garrett. He's the main protagonist. He's the thief. And yeah, the reason why I'm playing through this is because mostly because of that cutscene, because that really gives a lot of background information on who we are. Basically, Garrett, he was a beggar orphan on the streets, and apparently he saw a keeper. We'll understand what the keepers are later on, but yeah, because of that, the keepers actually noticed that he has talent for things, and they decided to hire him. Anyway, there's only one objective for this mission, which is a tutorial mission, so of course that makes sense, and that is to follow the directions of our instructor in order to pass the training tests.
Welcome, young Garrett. In the nearby rooms, I will instruct you in the various skills you will need to survive. Please stay in the entrance area to each room while I explain the room's purpose. When you are ready to begin your lessons, proceed down this hallway to the first room.
Wow, this looks very different from what I'm used to. Because normally I don't play with any mods, but yeah, the HD mod doesn't just improve textures, by the way, it also improves, like it adds extra foliage and other like decorations. It's a big overhaul, it's not just, oh, textures but HD.
You must learn how to move unseen. Stay in the shadows. Avoid the light. The indicator on your screen will tell you how visible you are. Try to reach the top of the platform without being seen.
Now, stealth is the name of the game, of course, so you have to stick to the shadows. That little thing down there next to my health, that's called the light gem, and basically the brighter it is, the more likely it is for an enemy to spot you. So ideally you would want to keep it very dark. There is another trick, more advanced, that I'll show off later, maybe even in this stream, and if not, then definitely in the next one. But for now, that's all you have to know. And just to demonstrate, here's what happens if you fail this challenge.
I see you there, lad.
Try again. Remember, stay out of the well-lit areas until you reach the platform.
So yeah, there's 3 states, or 3 stages of the light gem. There's the completely dark one. Then there's when it glows yellow, like the little icon there. I'm pointing at the screen like you can see it, but when it glows yellow, it basically means that there are high chances of an enemy spotting you. But if it glows red, then it's guaranteed that the enemy will spot you if they look your way. So it's pretty intuitive. It's pretty understandable. So obviously we just stick to the shadows here and we'll be fine.
Well done. I did not see you approach.
Open this door to continue. When the door is near the center of your screen, it will light up, indicating that it is selected. To manipulate selected doors and other objects, use them. Good. Proceed down this corridor for your next test.
And yeah, this is what I mean. Now that I'm completely in the light, you can see that the light gem is not only completely lit, but the little icon or whatever it is next to it is red. And now it went yellow. Now it's dark. So keep an eye on it, and you quickly understand how it works. You can also check our map. So every mission has a map. Now, unfortunately, not all missions have a very descriptive map like this one. Of course, since this is the tutorial, it's pretty much straightforward. But some of the later stages are not only massive, but also their maps are not very helpful at all. So you really have to like piece together your own map, basically, either in your mind or just on a piece of paper or whatever. So that's another thing that might put off some people, since modern gaming, I find, has really made people spoiled, because the level design in modern games is very simple, easy to follow. You usually even have a mini-map, but this is very, very old school. But that's part of the challenge, really, of this game, to just explore, because it's not only about the stealth, it's also about exploration, which is another thing I really love about this game. You're just dropped into this massive open level, and you have to basically find your way around by reading notes and listening to conversations. It's really immersive. That's the best way to describe this game. This is one of the original immersive sims, and it's actually made by the same studio who made the original System Shock, which is the first immersive sim game. And yeah, for those of you who don't know what an immersive sim is, just as the title implies, it's a game that's very immersive. Usually very hardcore as a result in terms of gameplay, but the upside is that it's super immersive. It's the most immersive experience you ever get from a game. Anyway, in this map, we started off in the library. Currently we're going for the training halls. There's 2 of them. We went through the one about light, and the upcoming one is about sound. That's a big part of the game. Then we're gonna go out to the courtyard for some target practice and basically an introduction to the combat. And at the very end there's an obstacle course which will introduce us to some more advanced movement techniques and sort of serve as a final test, essentially. Very simple level. Never heard of System Shock. Yeah, System Shock is one of the classic PC titles from the 90s.
Now you must learn to move quietly. Some surfaces are louder than others when walked upon, and moving quickly makes more noise than moving slowly. Listen to your own footsteps to hear how much noise you are making. The instructor will have his back turned. You must get to the top of the platform without being heard.
Alright, and this is the second thing that you have to keep in mind in this game. Other than staying in the shadows, you also have to avoid certain tile surfaces, basically, that will alert guards even if you're in the dark. Normally these are metal and marble. Those are the loudest, and basically if a guard hears you step on them, they'll immediately know where you are, which is kind of bullcrap, but they're easy to avoid in most situations. Then there's stone, wood, and dirt. Those are sort of like in the middle ground. If you walk on them, guards won't necessarily hear you unless you're very close to them, unless you jump on them. That'll make a lot more noise. And then the best type of tile that you can walk on is grass or carpet. That one is basically completely silent. So here, as I walk around, if you listen closely, I barely make a sound, but if I step on the metal grating here...
I could hear that.
Try again. Remember, walk on quiet surfaces and move slowly.
Yeah, and another thing is that you can also... You can get away with walking on stuff like metal, of course, but you have to either move very slowly, which you do by crouching and then holding down shift, and then you can move like super, super slow and sneaky-like. Or you can use moss arrows, but I'll get to that once we actually unlock those. So now let's just do what the tutorial asks us to do.
Very good. I did not hear you traverse the room.
Beyond this door is a hallway that will lead you to your next task.
And now we're approaching the combat tutorial, because there is some combat. If you get caught, it's not like if you get caught, it's game over immediately. You do have a chance to fight back.
Now get your weapons. To pick up objects, select them by centering them on screen until they light up. Then use them. Choose your weapon now. Try readying your sword, and then your bow. You can always put them away again if you need your hands free. Now let's go out to the courtyard for some target practice.
Yeah, basically have your two main weapons. You have your sword, which is obviously used for melee. And you also have arrows, which you can use to pick off guards from a distance.
Ready your bow. Knock an arrow and draw back the string by holding down the attack button. Make sure you draw all the way back, or your shot will not have full power. Take aim, and when you are ready to shoot, release your attack. See if you can hit one of these targets. Good shot. Keep practicing if you wish. When you are ready to proceed, approach the training dummy and ready your sword.
I'm gonna try to get a bullseye on all three of these. I think I already got one on the biggest target. Oh, damn it, that one. Okay, and this one is always the trickiest. Ha! Ironically, I think I got the smallest target, but I didn't get the middle one. Let's see. Ah, yep. Oh well, good enough. And here's another thing about the HD mod. Stuff like these trees here, for example, that you see, like the small trees, they're actually part of the HD mod. Because in the vanilla game, there's no props here. It's just flat grass.
Swing at the target with the attack button. A quick tap will give you a slash. Move the tip of your sword to the left of the target for a left slash, and to the right of the target for a right slash. Hold the attack button down, then release for an overhead swing. Try both slashes and the overhead swing on the practice dummy. Good job, you're ready for a live opponent. To practice against your partner, enter the cobbled sparring area.
Before I do so, the combat is very wonky, and that's, at least I believe, by design. Since Garrett is not a master swordsman, so you're incentivized to basically be sneaky instead of going for confrontation. Because if you just try to fight guards, you can get by fighting just a single guard, or maybe even two guards if you're good enough, but if there's 3 or more guards, you're not gonna have a very fun time. So that's why you're better off just sneaking around, and some of the later stages have a crap ton of guards concentrated in one place, so you have to follow their patrol patterns and avoid them instead of just facing them. That being said, I am actually surprisingly good at the combat in this game, and I can literally handle 3 or even 4 guards at a time. But then again, I have played this game on and off since 2018. I have 250 hours clocked into this game on Steam alone, and even before I started using Steam in 2020, I played the game quite a bit. So when you're starting off, basically the combat will be difficult for you, but you can get used to it after a while, and you can basically play this as a very weird and janky sword fighting simulator if you want. Also, there is a third move that they didn't show in the tutorial, and that's blocking with your sword. If you press the middle mouse button, you block, and it literally blocks all incoming damage. However, that does mean that you can't attack, so you have to like basically time it. I never use the block myself, and I'll show you what strategy I normally use. Alright, so normally what I do is I circle the enemy and keep attacking them.
When you are done, leave the sparring area.
I've even learned how to do this, so just keep circling and charge up a power shot, and literally 2 or 3 of these power shots and the enemy will go down. And if you keep circling them like this, they'll never be able to attack you. As long as you have enough room, you can just keep doing this, and you're gonna be fine. And if they start going the other way, you start going the opposite way. Just keep attacking them at the back, basically, and you'll be fine. Now, you can see why this doesn't work when you have more than 1 enemy. Well, if you have 2, it's still manageable, but if you have 3 or more, then it becomes a bit chaotic. But this strategy, if you get spotted by just 1 guard, you can take him out easily like this. So that's a pro tip there from a veteran
That's
player.
enough sparring for today. Please walk over to the table. Would you care for some refreshment before we move on, young Garrett? Please pick up all of the items on this table.
This is Garrett's formal training from the Keepers? Yes, pretty much that is it. So here we have 3 items. We have an apple. It's a food item. We have a key and a potion.
Cycle through your inventory to see the objects you have in your pockets. Once an object is displayed, you may use it. Have something to eat if you wish. Then you may proceed. The next test is waiting on the other side of the metal door.
Alright, so you basically have two types of inventories. You have your weapons, which are displayed on the left side. You access these by default with the number keys, 1 through 9. Yes, there is that many weapons in the game, although most of them aren't offensive weapons per se, most of them are defensive. And again, we'll get introduced to those as we go with the missions, because every mission will introduce a new type of gadget for us to use. So for now, all we have is our bow, or broadhead arrows in this case, because there's many types of arrows, and the sword. But eventually we're gonna get other weapons as well. And the other inventory that we have is our items, and you cycle through these by pressing tab by default. And there's also preset keys for these, which are the F keys. For all 9 slots. So there's 9 different types of items. Well, there's more than 9 items. Your inventory can hold basically infinite items, I'm pretty sure. They just keep getting piled up in your inventory. You always have the compass, which is very useful when navigating, especially when you're new. You have healing potions, which are obvious, and you also have keys, which obviously unlock doors. There are lockpicks, but those will get introduced later on. Hello, Jonas. Welcome back to the stream.
The door is locked, but the key from the table will open it. To unlock the door, select the key in your inventory. Center the door on screen until it lights up. Then use the key on the door. Good. Now head down this hallway to get to your next test.
You can also lock doors behind you by just using the key again.
Now you will learn new movement skills. First, climb the rope by jumping onto it. Move while looking up or down to climb up or down the rope. Turn to change your facing. If you jump again, you will release the rope. Now climb the rope to get to the top of the platform.
Ropes are kind of wonky, but not as wonky as the ropes in Half-Life Opposing Force. And eventually we'll get the ability to make our own ropes, which is really fun, because you can get to basically hidden areas in the level and make your own paths. It's pretty cool. But for now, let's just climb this basic rope.
Well done. Run and jump across the gap to the other side of the stream. Good jump.
There is also water, of course, and you can swim in the water, but I'm not gonna show that off because there's gonna be plenty of missions where we're gonna swim.
This obstacle is easy to climb if you know how. First, move close to the wall. Next, jump to grab the edge of the wall and pull yourself up. Good job. I am most pleased with your progress. You have passed the last test for today. If you wish, you may stay to practice your climbing and jumping, or swimming, ducking, leaning, or crawling. When you are finished, you may return to your chambers by going through that red door. Farewell.
The door is actually red in the original game, but for some reason the HD texture mod replaces that texture. I don't know why. Yeah, I've actually heard discourse online that people don't like this mod. There are other HD texture mods as well. There is I forgot what it's called, but there is one that's more faithful to the original textures. But I honestly like this one because it's just a lot simpler to install. It's literally just a one-click install, whereas the other one I think you have to do some extra stuff. At least last time I tried it. So yeah, this is a very impromptu install. Anyway, this mechanic here is the last thing I'm gonna talk about. This is called mounting, and this is a very, very OP and broken mechanic because what I'm playing right now, I'm playing on the new Dark engine. It's basically an updated version of the game's engine. But in the original game, the mounting was, I'm pretty sure, was hard-coded for only specific areas. But the new Dark engine basically makes it so that you can mount pretty much any surface as long as it's high enough, or low enough rather, for you to reach. So you can literally skip entire levels by using this one mechanic. It's kind of broken. I might be using it, not to skip entire levels of course, but I will be using it to skip some more annoying areas, just so you know. Just beware. But yeah, this is a very overpowered mechanic. Oh, you can also lean as well. The guy mentioned it, I think, but he never introduced it properly. So just like Amnesia, The Dark Descent, for example, if you press Q or E, you lean both ways. So it's actually obviously very useful when you're like sneaking around and you need to lean across a corner. It's very useful for that. Keep in mind that even when you lean, enemies will see you if your light gem starts like flashing. So it's not like you only visually lean, your actual character model also like leans and makes you vulnerable and exposed. So keep that in mind. I guess this is a little bit reddish, but it's definitely less red than in vanilla textures.
The Keepers were training me to be one of them, but I found other uses for those skills.
And there we have it, mission complete. That was the tutorial mission of Thief Gold. One last thing I want to mention is that this is the Gold edition, so there's basically two versions of the game. There's a Thief the Dark Project, which is the original 1998 release, and then there's Thief Gold, which is the one I'm playing and the one most people know, because that's the one that's on Steam, and basically you can buy it anywhere. It's very hard to come by the original Thief, and there's a lot of differences between Thief Gold and the original. The biggest one is that Thief Gold adds 3 new missions that add more to the story, basically. I will talk about those missions once we get to them, and I will be doing them. But the original game, I find, has much better pacing, because 2 of the 3 new missions introduced in Thief Gold are actually kind of crap, not gonna lie. I really don't like them, and most of the community also doesn't like them. And just in general, I find that the pacing of the original is better, because I actually have played the original. There is a way to downgrade your Thief Gold copy into a copy of the original by use of a mod, and I have tried that last year. That was the first time I actually played the original game, and I found that the pacing is a lot better in the original game. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of Thief Gold, but I want to show off everything in this playthrough, so I'm still gonna play it for you guys. But yeah, that's basically what... Thief Gold also does a bunch of other stuff. It adds a couple new areas to some existing missions, and it also adds a new type of enemy that basically prevents a soft lock, because there's 2 missions in the game where, at least on expert difficulty, you're required to use a special item, and if you run out of that special item, you're basically soft locked. You can't complete the mission. You have to start over. So to eliminate that issue, they added a new type of enemy that basically is unkillable, and it drops that type of item infinitely. But again, we will also see that once we get there. Pretty cool detail of enemies seeing you peep from the corner. Yeah, again, like, this game was very ahead of its time. It was not only one of the first stealth games, and especially first-person stealth games, but in general, it has some of the most advanced sound design and like sound engine that I've ever seen in a game. A lot more advanced than a lot of modern games, which is really impressive. I'll talk more about that as we go, but yeah. Anyway, that's the first mission done. Again, very basic. Even on expert, there's only one objective. You just have to follow the directions of your instructor in order to pass all the training tests. I'm gonna save. And you can also see your stats as well at the end of every mission. So I played on expert, and so far the only stats here are the total time played, but eventually we're gonna start seeing some other stats here, like how many knockouts do we have, how much loot did we acquire, how many locks did we pick, stuff like that. So it's always fun to check and see how you're doing. I actually have completed this game 100% in the past, and doing so is basically getting all the pickpockets and all of the loot in every single level. I have done this before for both Thief 1 and Thief 2. I'm gonna try to do it here, but I don't want to use any walkthroughs. So if I can't do it for all missions, then it's whatever. But yeah, I will try to do it, because I do remember some of the earlier levels. At least I do remember where all the loot is in those. But no promises. Anyway, that's gonna be it for this stream. I'm gonna do another one tomorrow, actually, because this was a relatively short one, because it was just the tutorial mission and me blabbering for half an hour. So tomorrow we're gonna play through the first Rio mission. So stay tuned for that. It's gonna be very exciting. A lot more than this. And yeah, until then, thank you all very much for watching. It's good to be back, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Bye bye.